first game we're going to play is called One Old, One New. We played it last week, so the 4 guys in the group are familiar with it. Basically, it's very simple. The premise of the game is I give you a category, and you have to tell me something that fits in that category that was before 2015 and one after 2015. Now, Greenblatt said is before 2015 really old, and realistically, no. So if you can try to go a little bit older than that, go for it.
I've got an old one.
But I just kind of meant 2015 more as thinking from a new premise, as 2015 to now is more new than 2010 to now or whatever year before that. So the category today is albums to binge while in quarantine, but realistically albums to binge whenever. Of course, before 2015 and after 2015. So, Matt, since you played the game last week, I'm going to let you go first. So, albums to binge while in quarantine.
All right. So, as far as before 2015 goes, this album came out in 2014 and is one of my favorite albums of all time. And this will only be a good album to anyone who listens to, like, super heavy music. Not super heavy, decently heavy music. But that is Devil by Chiodos. That's an easy go-to for me. One of my favorite bands of all time. So for sure, check that out. It's a concept album, really cool. One of those albums that kind of definitely gets swept under the rug often. So I would say that for old. As far as new, I want to keep it pretty new, as in like has come out within the last couple months, just because from 2015 to now, I mean, so much has been released. But if we're saying one new album in the last, let's say, 2 months, I would totally recommend to get your hands on, gotta find it, one sec. You'll Be Fine, Hot Mulligans.
I swear to God, Matt.
I was thinking of that one too, believe it or not.
You son of a bitch.
And of course it was.
Sorry, I can change
the
it.
same
Oh,
person.
you're good. It's all you. Go.
All
I
right.
just love stealing people's answers for these things.
What can I say? I'm just all over it. But that's only talking about stuff that has come out as of recent. I mean, a lot has come out recent. There's some albums I'm looking forward to that are coming out too that I would probably recommend before they even come out. So, but I won't get into that.
No, that You'll Be Fine by Hot Mulligan was obviously gonna be my answer. But yeah, great album. I love it. It has a very, it's not traditional pop punk in the same sense that we've been hearing kind of the same stuff over and over and over and over again. And even Neck Deep released this song recently, and I'm like, okay, cool, but it sounds like Neck Deep, and the same Neck Deep we've heard over and over again. But regardless, Taylor, balls to you.
As no surprise to all of you, I'm gonna bring up Taylor Momsen. So my first one is the Light Me Up album, because that was released in 2010, I think. I wrote it down. Where did I write it down? Whatever. Anyways, so the background of this is that most of the entire album was written at a bar when she was 16, just coming out of her childhood acting career. So this is right after Gossip Girl and stuff, because she was pretty young at that time. Some of this was already written like drunk at a bar, and you can hear all the teenage drama, and that's probably the only downfall of it, is that it's like You Make Me Want to Die is really overly dramatic, and then there's lines like it's over sexualized, like that whole song with the priest that's like, can I take off my dress because I'm only 16, if you know what I mean. There's just a lot of like, and all the lines about the drug exploration and just crazy adventures that shouldn't happen in normal everyday life, because she was quite wild as a teenager. So the whole feel of the music of the album is, it's not grunge, but it's like, it's a nod to grunge, because it's definitely, it's too like produced, but she was going for grunge, and you can kind of tell, but the instruments themselves seem too separated, and it sounds far too practiced. And while she gets that like smoky vocals in there, it's not like as raw, you know. And for her, I don't think that's her natural raw. I think her natural, like, what I was looking for when I heard that album the first time was like, she should be singing something like bluesy rock, not screaming and raspy and whatever. While I love that, and I identify more with that kind of music anyways. Then in 2016, I got what I asked for, and this is my new album to listen to is Who You Sellin' For, where she spent her whole time alone, completely alone, isolated in her room. She went down a rabbit hole or two of her own brain and came out with Who You Sellin' For. And this she released when she was 23 years old. And it's the album cover is yellow and it has a photo of, it's a drawing she did, and it was just quick, but it's like a really skinny woman. And with that, it's yellow, and I think there's some like the rabbit hole she went down was more her own anxieties, because a lot of the theme is like the walls are closing in and I'm a prisoner and nobody listens to me, stuff like that. Anyways, but in every interview, she's never ever mentioned any meaning to her songs. She leaves it up for everyone else's interpretation. She refused to so she made everything so general that everyone could relate. Yeah. But it's just that what I like about both albums together, you kind of have to look at them together, because one was who she wanted to be, or who she was when she was 16, to who she is now. And the first one was written while she was wasted at a bar, underage, doing gosh knows what, to now where she's 23, kind of an adult, and it's more refined, it's more adult themed, and thus it's more complicated. And this is definitely more her sound compared to Light Me Up. So I think it's a whole, this is who she is.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
No, that's a good one. Sean.
So for old that I've been listening to recently, I'm going to go back, the year I was born, 1995, and I'm picking What's the Story, Morning Glory by Oasis.
Good one.
I just been listening to that album a lot lately just because, I've been listening to a lot of stuff, but for some reason I keep going back to that album. I just love it. It's just a great album. One of my favorite bands of all time. It's kind of like one of those groups that you wish you played more in college, but I really didn't until, after.
Yeah.
And then newer album, I know I kind of got you guys all into this group called Seaway.
I love it.
I've been listening to them more lately, and I just been falling more in love with their music. And this is from an album that was released a couple years ago called Fresh Produce, which I believe is a compilation album of like various stuff they've done over the last several years.
It was last year, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was it came out like last year, but I think it was
2019.
Yeah, but I think it was stuff that they recorded previously and just released now.
Yeah, because it's got stuff from older projects on it.
Yeah,
April 19. Yeah.
Yeah, I've been listening to it lately, and it's just awesome music. And I'm just glad I found that song. Just goes back to I'm glad I found that one song a few years ago. And
greatest chart song we ever had was Something Wonderful by Seaway.
Yeah,
that was a gold find.
What about Boxes though?
I knew someone was gonna bring that up. I had that on the tip of my tongue. You beat me by this much.
We need to leave Boxes back in the past.
Yeah, we pack up that box and put it away.
Yes, never take it out.
That guy was cool though, because I think I interviewed him, and I was in the room when someone was interviewing him, and his roommate was Sean and James Gunn. So at one point,
I remember, right? Yeah,
that was cool, and I was just like, my jaw hit the ground.
Yeah,
but yeah, that was the only good thing to come from that.
Well, he sent us like boxes upon boxes, no pun intended, of CDs, and we gave those to everybody who could find them, and yeah, that was fun. All right, yes. Oh, sorry, Taylor, what's up?
No, nothing. I still have one of the CDs, and I think I played it once and never again.
I believe it. It was by Circus of the West, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
I've heard them so often. I put it in, and I was like, this has all been drilled into my brain. I can't handle it again.
I'm going to put the link to that in the description.
Hey, give the man some viewership. I don't know.
All right, Jess, one old album, one new album.
All right, so my old album was probably like the theme of, it was from 2008, so I was in middle school. Love this. It was by the All American Rejects, When the World Comes Down.
Yeah.
Amazing. It was like angsty but not angsty, which kind of like described me back then. Because like, yeah, like it was weird, but I loved it. Listen to it, Gives You Hell. Like that was the best like song on the album, I think. Also the one that was on the radio the most. But loved it. And my current album, I would love to say one, but I won't. So the one that I'm choosing is Halsey's Manic.
Okay.
Yes.
Great album.
I just think that album it has a little bit for everybody. I think a lot of people can relate to it, and it's just like almost everything there is a bop. Like it's good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the album's so good.
I'm just
Alright,
gonna go.
but-
I'm just gonna go quick because everybody else took hours to do.
Oh.
Old album, Dark Side of the Moon by Pink Floyd.
Great album.
New
Yeah.
album, fucking. Oh shit, I can't swear right.
Fucking oh shit! I can't swear.
We'll just put like quack noises in front of it.
Yes, I love it when people do
Blooper
that. They
reel.
put the back in
I mean,
front
this
of
is a
every.
podcast, so who gives a shit?
I mean, depends on the audience.
New album is Happiness Begins by the Jonas Brothers.
What? No.
I did not see that coming, but I can't disagree.
I
with
don't
you.
listen to a lot of music, but this album came out last year, and it was literally all I listened to over the summer.
I think I was there. Yeah.
It was all I listened to. I mean, I the only things I listen to are podcasts. I very rarely listen to music. I
Okay.
primarily listen to podcasts 90% of the time when I'm in actually 99% of the time when I'm in the car.
And that's why you're sad.
I mean, that's
Matt,
one.
you listen to podcasts
I mean, there
more
are a
than
lot of
anyone
reasons for that, but
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know if I would
I-
survive my day without music, honestly.
I
Same.
I got really, really deep for a second.
I don't listen to a lot of music.
When I work for 9 hours right here, music really helps.
I,
All right. My old album, I'm going 5150 by Van Halen, came out 34 years ago, unless my math is wrong, which it probably is.
It's definitely an 80s album.
Yeah, 1986. It's the first Van Hagar album after
Yep.
why am I blanking here? David Lee Roth left the band. Sammy Hagar came in as the lead singer. It has Why Can't This Be Love? It has Love Walks In, of course, has 5150 on it. And of course, probably one of my 5 favorite songs of all time, Dreams by Van Halen.
Yep.
Which, as Matt knows off the top of his head, is the closing title song of the 1995 Power Rangers movie. Yeah, what's up? I see your hand raised. What's good?
Yeah. So as Van Halen being one of my favorite bands of all time, I do have to ask you, are you more Van Hagar than
Yes,
Van
absolutely.
Halen with David Lee Roth?
Absolutely.
Really?
Yeah, I'm a Van Hagar.
Wow, okay.
All right.
Okay.
It's respectful. Yeah.
Why Can't This Be Love and 5150 are both great. Why Can't This Be Love is one of my favorite songs they've ever put out, but I think I'm still Team
Well,
David.
The thing, it's almost entirely, it feels like an entirely different band. Once
A lot of times, yeah.
Yeah, it feels more polished, more clean, more, I don't want to say
Pop.
mainstream, whereas with David Lee Roth, it feels a little bit more wild.
Yeah.
And
Well-
it has more of a more rock and roll energy to it.
So I'm gonna rock and roll nerd real quick.
Go for it, please do.
I just lost power again. That's why
I know
I'm
you
dark.
did.
Oh.
I'm gonna look up. Hold on 1 second.
You're good.
I'm gonna rock and roll nerd real quick because that's what I do best.
You look like Bohemian Rhapsody. That's
Yes.
one by one the lights coming up.
There you go.
So use your flashlight on your phone and make it like a scary ghost telling thing you put underneath your face.
So my power's back, so let's hope it stays that way. So the big reason why David Lee Roth, publicly anyway, left Van Halen was because he was afraid that they were becoming way too much of a pop band, and basically when they picked up Hagar, they went like full-blown pop, and that totally escalated their careers, which is a cool like middle finger. But at the same time, I think they were still at their peak when it came to rock and roll with David.
No. Oh, you're definitely right. It's a different sound. Cindy Hagar is definitely
entirely.
more of a pop rock versus David Lee Roth is more of a wild rock, not an angry
Yeah.
rock.
Oh, there it is.
What we've listened to recently is angry rock, but yeah, definitely more of a wild rock. And then modern album, because this segment's been going on forever. My modern album is from 2017, and without anybody being surprised here, that is Adornment by Grayscale. It's
Yes, my
flat
favorite.
out amazing. It's been, without any question, my favorite band probably since I first heard the album. I'm totally losing track of the songs on it. It's
Right?
it's entirely well put together. Mom, Fever Dream, Atlantic, Come Undone, Forever Yours. It's just I love the album.